What's up, y'all? My name is Nate. This is Throttle Only. This is a 2023 Ford Bronco WILDTRAK. Let's check it out. All right, y'all, let's get right into it. But before we do, let's look at this key fob here. So this is the key fob for the Bronco, as you can see right there. Beautiful lettering. And then you're also gonna have your unlock, your lock. You can actually remote start this as well from the key fob, and then you will have an alarm button there as well. If you want to pull out the key, you can push this right here, and then it will do that. This thing looks absolutely amazing. Let's start by talking about this hood. So up here at the very top, I don't know if you can see it from that angle, but you're gonna have a giant WILDTRAK logo up here, and it's gonna be in this satin black material. It looks so good. The rest of this hood is really nice as well. There's a little bit of dimension on either side as well. Then you're gonna have these giant hooks here as well. It says, if you look closely, a max load of 150 pounds. As we look straight onto the vehicle, you're gonna have this giant Bronco logo there. It's gonna be in white. It's gonna match the rest of this vehicle that looks so good. I absolutely love the contrast with the white and the black. And then there's gonna be a pretty good amount of venting there as well. As we come on down just a little bit, you are gonna have a camera there because this is gonna be off-road capable, so you can view that on your 12-inch screen on the inside. I'll show you that a little bit later. And then just below that, this bumper, I don't know if you can hear that, but this bumper is so rugged and it looks really good as well. As we come down a little bit more, you are gonna have a little bit more venting, and then you will have a skid plate underneath and some Fox shocks that you can see through this bumper. And these headlights look super good. They are gonna be your daytime running lights, the ones that I have on right now. And of course, this white light looks so good. I love this kind of C or horseshoe look that it has with that line in the middle. When you do turn on your signals or your hazards, it is gonna turn amber in the center where this line is right here. And then lastly, since we are still up front here, I want to talk about two more things. Firstly, the Bronco logo up here in the windshield. That's really cool. I haven't seen that a lot. The last time I saw that was on a Mercedes C-Class. And then the last thing is going to be these lights. So you can actually turn these lights on either side of the mirrors here from inside the cabin, and they are super bright at night. Okay, so here's another look at what the vehicle looks like from this angle. You might be able to notice these gigantic fender flares. I think they look really good with this vehicle. And then let's talk about these wheels real quick. So those wheels are gonna be the 17-inch wheels with beadlocks. And then these tires are gonna be 35 inches, and that's gonna be standard. That's gonna come with this WILDTRAK Sasquatch package. Continuing on with the side of the vehicle here, we're gonna start with this logo. This logo is gonna say WILDTRAK. It's also gonna say Sasquatch. It's gonna have some pretty cool mountains on it as well. I think it looks pretty nice. And then as we come on back, we're gonna look at these door handles. These door handles are gonna have the proximity sensing in it that we see in a lot of cars. And then you're also gonna have a lock button on the outside of that. You could just push that to lock it. And then a little bit above that, you're also gonna have a keypad. And if you wanna type in your code to unlock the vehicle, maybe you don't have your key or something, or the app, you can go ahead and type in your key and it will unlock the vehicle. These side steps down below are pretty rugged looking and feeling as well. They're gonna have a Bronco logo in the center, and then there's gonna be this rubberized area to help with slippery situations so you can get into the vehicle no problem. Then as we come on back towards the fuel door over there, you're gonna have a giant fender flare, of course, back there, but there is gonna be this small little plastic piece that extends just to the rear bumper there. And then the last thing I wanna talk about is this fuel door. This fuel door is gonna have the standard push to open, but it's also gonna have an easy fuel system. And then it has this cool design of 3 Bronco cars just above the fuel door. So while looking at the side profile still, so this will be in the 4-door configuration, and it is also gonna have the hardtop on there as well. And the hardtop is gonna be almost $2,000 extra, but I think it is well worth it. And of course, you can remove the doors and you can also remove the roof as well. All right, so looking straight on back at this vehicle, let's just start with this tire because it's absolutely massive. So this is gonna have the 17-inch wheels, and then it's gonna have the beadlocks, the 35-inch standard tires. And then protruding from that is actually gonna be your reverse camera, and it has a really nice resolution, especially with this 12-inch touchscreen that I'll show you later on. Above from that tire, you are going to have the third brake light. It's pretty small, but it is functional. Looking at this glass just above that, it is very, very vertical, and because of that, it's going to have a wiper that you can use. And in the rear end here, you're also going to have two logos. On my side here, you're going to have a blacked out Bronco logo. It looks really nice, really goes with this black and white vibe with the rest of this vehicle. And then on the other side, you're going to have a nice blue Ford logo. Coming down from that, you're going to have a pretty nice sized bumper here with parking sensors. You're going to have your license plate holder on the other side there with an LED light to illuminate that at night. And then your exhaust tip is going to be over here by me. And you're also going to have another hook just below your license plate on the other side there. All right, so the last thing I want to mention here about this rear end is going to be these tail lamps. These tail lamps look super good and premium. And then when you turn on the turn signal or the hazards, it will fill with this beautiful amber color. It looks super nice. And then when you go ahead and turn it into reverse, then it will fill with a nice white color as well. Okay, so let's officially talk about some of these details here on this 2023 Ford Bronco WILDTRAK in the 4-door configuration. So let me just take a second here to show you how many models there are for the Ford Bronco. Just look at this. I'm counting 9 different trims, and a lot of them have a 2-door configuration that you can spec on there. That's honestly really crazy. So anyway, going back to this Bronco here, so this color I have is in Oxford white. The starting MSRP is $62,460 US. And under the hood, it has a 2.7 liter twin turbo V6 engine. It produces 330 horsepower, and it has 415 foot-pounds of torque, and it has a 10-speed automatic transmission. And depending on the drive mode, it can be rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. I'll share a little bit more about that later on. And if properly equipped, you can tow up to 3,500 pounds. I also want to talk about this Sasquatch package that I mentioned. So this Sasquatch package is going to include the 35-inch tires, the electronic locking front and rear axles, 4.7 final drive ratio, Haas 3.0 Fox internal bypass dampers, and beadlock wheels. Okay, so I'm super curious what this exhaust will sound like in sport mode. It has a bunch of different drive modes and stuff like that, but let's just try it out in sport mode, see what it sounds like, then we'll look at the engine bay. All right, so now taking a look under the hood here at this 2.7 liter twin turbo V6 engine. Honestly, it looks pretty messy, but honestly, I don't really care. This vehicle is so beautiful, and it's not a performance vehicle, so I'm totally fine with it. Let me just show you what it looks like in relation to these front wheels here. Okay, so now it's time to check out this trunk space here. So to open it, you can just put your hand behind here. You can also lock it from back here as well. Go ahead and pull. And this massive door will swing open for you. And then you can also open this glass as well. There you are. And this is what it looks like with both of those open. So on the bottom here, starting with the storage space, you have a small area right here. There is also a jack for that giant tire that sits on the back of the vehicle. You're also going to have some hooks here as well. It's pretty cool. There's a little lasso here and a design on each of these. I think that's a really nice touch. And so there is a pretty decent amount of room here. And you can pull down these seats as well. I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute here. You're going to have some speakers back here, up here as well. And you can also just see the shell of this vehicle. That's going to be this white frame here. You're going to have a 12-volt adapter there, some lights, and then a really nice touch here. Again, a nice blue Bronco. Pretty cool. There's going to be some storage space down here as well. And then let me show you what it looks like with these seats folded down. All right, so with the seats mostly down, this is about how much room you can expect to have. You will have a little bit of a loading floor here, which is going to be separated by this kind of like hard plastic area right here. You might also notice that this seat is not completely down. I will talk about that in just a moment. Okay, so now to close up the rear end here, glass first, and then you can use this giant door to shut it. All right, so inside of the Ford Bronco in the back seats, there's honestly a good amount of room. If I put my legs straight here, you can see I have at least 2 or 3 inches of leg room. I am sitting behind myself at 6'1". There's also some nice contours in the seat as well that kind of help with that, and a pretty deep storage pocket as well. As we look at these door panels in the rear here, they are pretty nice. You might notice that these are going to have frameless windows. That helps with really the aesthetic of this vehicle, and also kind of helps seem like there's a little bit more room back here as well. So as we look at these door panels, some of this material is going to be a little bit soft, but not too much. The rest of it is honestly pretty hard, but the materials overall, they look very nice. And then down below, you're also going to have a net as well that's going to have these bungee straps. And I was able to fit like a full-size water bottle in there as well. And then looking at the rest of this interior here, so down below, you are going to have the window switches that are going to be part of this center console area. And then there is also going to be a bunch of different power sources as well. Just a little bit below that, you're going to have this pretty dope looking Bronco symbol, and it is going to be in the color of the seats. You're also going to have some cup holders as well. 2 small ones, but nonetheless they are there, and it can double as an armrest as well. And then we did mention that this roof was removable. There's nothing really to look at here, but if you remove the roof, you can look at the sky. All right, so now looking at the driver's door panel here. So it's going to be pretty much the same as the rears. You're going to have a lock and unlock buttons right there. And just look at these materials. I'll try to do a nice close-up for you. They look really nice, really rugged. Here's a look at this net down below here. You might notice too, there's no door speakers. And again, that's because these doors are removable. So one thing I did want to mention about these seats here. So this passenger seat here is actually under a recall currently because it does not move forward or backwards. And this is a 2023 Ford Bronco, and that is why there was a little bit limited space in the rear when I put those seats down. Coming into the vehicle, you have a nice Bronco mat. And then these seats are going to be automatically adjusted with these buttons down below. And here's a look at these beautiful seats, which are going to be heated. Nice logo there in the center. And then for the passenger, they are going to have a pretty nice grab handle as well. Pretty rugged feeling and textured as well. They also get to look at this beautiful Bronco engraved dashboard here. Another grab handle will be right here as well. Very rugged. And then this is also part of that dash there as well. And then you can see one speaker up there. All right, now looking at the driver's door panel here, very similar to the passenger side here. Unlock, lock controls there. I rolled up the window just to show you these frameless windows. I think that looks really nice. Moving on into the vehicle, same automatic controls, but these actually work. Bronco mat, pretty dirty. Gonna have a rubber dead pedal and then some rubber pedals as well. Unlock your hood there, electronic parking brake, and then all of your light controls here. These 2 lights are gonna control the lights up front here, which I showed in the very beginning of the video. Okay, so now let's take a look inside of the vehicle here. We're gonna go ahead and start with the center console here. So this center console will be able to lock. You can see there is an area right there. You can stick your key in and lock the contents. If I go ahead and push right here, it will lift up. And then there's gonna be this slidable, removable tray. With that aside, now you can see inside there's actually a pretty decent amount of room there. And then you're also going to have a 12-volt adapter in there as well. Down below from that, you're going to have all of the window switches right here. And these window switches are going to look upside down because they are. And you can easily click them with your hand on the armrest like so. And in doing so, all of them will be automatic. And you can also lock the rear windows here. and there'll be an orange light to indicate that it is on. And then just to the right of that, you'll have all of the mirror controls here, left and right, and you can adjust them as you want. You're gonna have some pretty decent sized cup holders here as well, and there's some rubber textile material in there to help with grip. Then this is gonna be your shift lever right here. With the shift lever, there is gonna be a plus and a minus sign there for your gears, and that's how you're gonna shift, is actually pushing these buttons right here. And if you look closely on this shift lever, there's also gonna be an American flag down below, as well as a Bronco symbol. And then this is going to be your drive mode selector here. I'm going to show you what all of the drive modes look like in just a second here. So to use it, all you have to do is turn it like this, and it has a nice click and nice feeling to it, and it is textured as well. So we're going to go ahead and start in normal mode here, and I'm going to show you. So this is normal mode, and you can shift it on to the right and it'll go to eco mode, sport mode, and it's automatically going to shift into 4x4 auto due to the sport mode or slippery mode, whichever mode it is in. And then we're going to go ahead and continue to shift mud and ruts. So when you get into this mode, it will automatically turn on the front camera, and it's going to be full screen. And then you can also see there are tire track marks there to let you know which way your tires are facing, which I think is really cool. All right, so continuing on with some of these drive modes here. You also are going to have sand. And then lastly, Baja. So you might notice too that this drive mode selector or goat mode selector says goat on it instead of drive mode. It's kind of weird, but what that goat stands for is go over any type of terrain. I think that's kind of cool, but it's also unique to Ford. So just above from that, you're going to have that grab handle that we saw on the passenger side there. There's also going to be a plaque here basically saying that this was made in Michigan. It's pretty cool. All of the WILDTRAKs are going to have this. There's also going to be wireless charging in this as well. And then just behind there, you're also going to have some more power adapters, USB Type-C and A. All of the AC controls are going to be right here. Each area here is going to have an LCD display, and it has some nice tactile clicks to it as well, and it feels very nice. And then just up from that, probably the most important thing is going to be this button right here, which is going to be the camera button. And that obviously is going to toggle the camera. So if I'm outside of one of those terrain modes, I can just push it right here and the front camera will come up. And since I'm doing this, I'm going to shift into reverse and show you the reverse camera. And then you can also see that there is a surround view camera there as well, and that works very nicely. When you first enter the Ford Bronco, you'll be greeted with this really cool and really long cinematic on this giant screen. I mean, just look at this. So this center screen here is a 12-inch touchscreen, and it does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and it looks very nice. I am currently using Apple CarPlay, and then there is a section off to the right here, which you can kind of toggle to whatever you like. So if you hit this kind of pages button right here, you can kind of filter through just some of the different things here. So it has trips, phone, fuel economy. Fuel economy is pretty nice. If you click on that, it'll give you some information. And then you can also just hit the arrows down here as well, and it will change depending on what you choose to do. If we go to apps, there are certain apps as well. This does have a mobile app. I do not have access to that. Different settings. Of course, if you go to general, it's going to have all of your basic settings there. Then it's going to have connectivity. It has a vehicle hotspot. You can adjust the clock, update software, things of that nature. Most importantly, Apple CarPlay. On the dash here, there's going to be actually some more buttons here. So if you look closely, all of these are going to be text-styled buttons here, and you can push either one of them. This front one here is going to lock the front axle, then the rear axle right here, and then this is actually going to be a trail turn assist. This is your traction off, and then this will be your hazards button right there. And if you look just above that, you might notice there is a little icon here and a little circle. And if I open this, it will reveal a USB-C and a USB type A all the way up there. That's kind of bizarre. And then on the roof, you're also gonna have 6 auxiliary switches. And boy, do these feel so nice. Just listen to this. That is really awesome. And then of course, you're gonna have your standard lights and all of that that you have in a normal vehicle. And then to remove this roof right here, you're gonna have to unclick all of these latches here. And this is the hardtop configuration. All right, now as we look at the steering wheel here, you're gonna have a Bronco logo here in the center. Very nice leather wrapped steering wheel. It has black stitching on it. And then I really love this dark gray color that wraps around it as well. You're gonna have a lot of switches on this side. Cruise control abilities right here. This is gonna have radar cruise control, by the way. You're gonna have a volume button right here, lane keep system right there, phone controls and audio controls on this side as well. And then if you were to push this button here, this stacked menu button, this will change some of the information on your digital instrument gauge cluster. I'll try to show you some of that right now. I personally like to keep it in this mode right here, the off-road mode, but I'll show you some of the other views here. So if I click my view, this is what it'll look like. The miles per hour is going to be a little bit bigger. You're going to have your RPMs there, and it's going to stack as you increase your throttle pressure, as you can see there. So let me just toggle through this menu right here, and I'm just pushing the down arrow on the steering wheel. Fuel economy, trip data, off-road mode. So if I go ahead and go back to this stack mode, there's trip and fuel. So you can select all of these sort of things if you would like. And like I said, off-road mode is going to have the most information. So if I go to off-road status here and just click through there, you have a bunch of different items that you can choose from, and they're going to change how that display looks. Gauges, turbo boost, oil temperature. And I like how everything really has a nice animation to it. Like once you click through, it might seem like it's a little laggy, but it's just a little bit more theater than just automatically presenting it the way that it is. Okay, so I'm inside of the Ford Bronco. We're gonna go ahead and take it for a drive, and let's talk about the driving experience in this thing. So this is a very rugged vehicle. Generally, for my personal daily drivers, I like sedans. I like cars that are lower to the ground, a little bit more speed. And so it's nice to kind of see the other end of things where I can run over a rock or even a pebble and not have to worry about my tires being popped or skidding over a speed bump or anything like that. The seats in this, they're very comfortable. You have your blind spot monitoring system, giant 12-inch touchscreen. It has like all the bells and whistles that you might expect from any other sedan I might like, whether it's from Audi, BMW, or Mercedes, but it's in this giant SUV. It's really awesome. There are just a few things that I think Ford could improve on. And by the way, that's really awesome of Ford to include the ability to send feedback through the infotainment on specific things that you want to see improved. For example, for me personally, the sound system in this could be a lot better. The only thing I can really compare this to is a Jeep. Don't hate me for that, but hear me out for a second. There are two things. First off, the doors in a Jeep Gladiator specifically, or even whatever Rubicon, they just sound a lot better when you slam them. They feel a little bit heavier and more rugged. And the sound system in the Jeep is a lot better. There's better bass, there's just better overall sound quality, I think. And honestly, those are the only things I really have to complain about in this vehicle, because this is so nice. I would actually consider getting one of these, but except in the Raptor version, because the Raptor just looks freaking amazing if you've ever seen one of those. But nonetheless, I really do enjoy driving this Ford Bronco the time that I've had it. Even just commuting to the store and whatever, it's just very comfortable. If I had to commute long distances, probably wouldn't choose this type of vehicle, but nonetheless, this has honestly been a really fun vehicle. And I honestly was not expecting it to be as cool as it is. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this review. If you did, consider subscribing, consider hitting that like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.